I'm at Grace Church Road. I went to Waynesboro to bring this man down to this address, and now he's trying to force his way into a house. I'm afraid to move my vehicle. Just fighting in there.
It's inside the house now?
Yeah.
You have your doors locked?
It's open. I'm in a van.
You need to make yourself safe, okay? Even if you've got to drive away from there to get away from him and close that and lock that door. Do that for me now, please.
Okay, wait a minute.
I can't
Hey,
hear
Deb.
you. Can you hear me?
Hey, Deb.
I've been typing. No sound, no sound.
Oh, no. Yeah, so I did a whole intro about how incredible Deb was, and I forgot my mic wasn't on.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, everyone welcome Deb. I think most of you know her and recognize her. It's good to see your face.
I know. It's good to see you, too. I love the background.
Thank you. This is Sunny's background. I'm just
Oh, is it Sunny's?
Yeah, and I'm wearing this color tonight in honor of Sunny, since she's not feeling well. I figured,
Yeah.
she should be here in spirit. So
yeah, poor Sunny.
Yeah,
I know she's not sick often, and when she is, she usually doesn't let it get her down. She just keeps going. A lot of people don't know she's feeling bad. She just keeps going,
right.
But tonight she needed to rest, so I'm glad to step in.
No,
it's
thank
like old
you.
times, right?
I know. I feel like I know you.
Reunited and it feels so good.
So can everyone hear both of us okay? I'm not used to being in charge here, so.
I know. It's a scary thing to think about you being in charge.
Well, I used to do it all the time, and I kind of forgot how to do it a little bit.
I know. I came into the StreamYard really early because I'm like, what if I don't remember how to get back in there?
And then 5 minutes before, you were like, okay, where's Adam?
Oh yeah, Adam's always late. But you were good. You were on time.
I was. So I'm sorry we were a few minutes late. We were just chatting really quickly, and I was I was switching over to my computer, so I apologize. But for old time's sake, do you have the chat pulled up on your phone, Deb?
I do.
Are you? I'm going to let you give the hellos.
Okay. All right.
If you don't
I'd love
mind.
to do that. Yeah. Oh, it's a Criming Shames listening. Hey, Sunny. Support with Steppa. Hey, honey girl. And let's see, who else is in here? I accidentally called her Sophia because, I'm like that with typos. Daisy, my sister. Yeah, Ivy Rose in the house. Mom, never silent. Chief Mod back on the job here. Ray Jones.
He's been extremely naughty since he's been gone.
Yeah. Lizette Gwen, Miracle Hearts. Purdue RN. Hey, girl. Hey, friend.
Hey, Purdue.
Michelle Soa. Is that how you say it? Michelle Soa. Jill Mosier in the house. Hey, Jill. And Alexa. Hey, friend. Seeing Red Flags. Diamond Eyes. Good to see both of you guys. Dave Deanne. Hey, Dave. Well, Streamlabs. Oh, Lord. Who let Streamlabs in?
I know, right?
I think that's it. I think we're caught up for right now.
Bridgeburner I think Bridgeburner's here.
I didn't see Bridgeburner.
Bridgeburner 20 years ago, and then did you say hi to Alexa? And Sloopy.
I said hi to Alexa. Why am I not on? I bet Bridgeburner has me blocked. I bet that's why I can't see him.
Diamond Eyes. So Diamondized.
Who was the other one? 20
Alexa?
years ago? No, you said 20 something.
Oh, it's Bridgeburner 20 years ago is the name.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mustang and Alexa and Sloopy.
Why am I not seeing Mustang? Why am I not seeing Mustang?
And Daisy.
That's weird. Yeah, I saw Daisy.
Right.
Yeah. Odd.
Oh, you know why? Because we're on my channel and It's a Crime and Shame.
Oh, okay.
So
gotcha.
You're not seeing people that are on my. You're probably not seeing people that are on the other channel. That's why.
That's right. That's why.
So
that's it.
How are you?
We solved another case. Look, he's disappearing.
Oh, hey, sees through.
Oh my god.
And hey, Mel.
Hey, everyone over on Adam's channel. Love you guys. Hey, Mel. Beautiful Mel.
I guess I could pull up my own channel.
Yeah. I'm good. Been keeping pretty busy trying to figure out this whole YouTube thing. I don't know. I've got like 29 or 30 videos. Most of them are the shorts, but I've done a couple of longer ones. And my goal and my hope is to do my own live. I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks.
Aww.
I'm just like getting the hang of it. And I was thinking about our first live together, the one that you and I did, and how like we had all this feedback.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. But once we got that, oh my gosh, that was like.
I mean, we both came on kind of around the same time, and it's been over a year now because it was January.
It would have been in April, maybe April or March, maybe, or April. And then Sunny said,
"She's so
you
mean."
too. I know.
And then we started to get so incredibly popular and famous that she was like, "No more Monday nights." I'm kidding.
Right. Right. Oh.
We'd both be like, treading water if it weren't for Sunny.
Ooh. Oh, you got to take up on this. Purdue RN says, Adam, you have an invite for dinner when you were in town. You got to go because she is an excellent cook. I'm just telling you.
No, I have heard that from you and from Steve and Mrs. Steve. And
we had some killer prime rib. Oh, there's Mustang.
Right.
I can't
because I was actually planning on coming to Indiana on the 17th for the hearing, but I changed my plans once it got reduced to kind of just the bail hearing and setting the new trial date. Because if I'm going to spend the money and if I'm going to go, I'd rather kind of wait until it's more. I can serve more of a purpose, at least for the channel.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, I know the real reason you're coming. Yeah, I know you really want to come because you can see me, but
Yes. I know. I'm a little disappointed that I didn't go before the bridge got remodeled, only just because, it takes away a little of the fun without like the rickety no sides or anything.
Right.
Now it's all
but
safe.
You can still see the other side, like only part of it is remodeled.
Right.
So
I can
be
jump
able
over the railing and I can do pull-ups on the.
Oh Lord.
Not to name names.
We're gonna have to put one of those harnesses on you, with the.
Right. I'll just go down and the boards and then pop up. Unless I don't think anyone's ever done that on YouTube.
Yeah, Daisy prime rib. She makes a killer prime rib. Oh, so good. So good. So much stuff going on, right?
No. Hey, Lisa.
People getting let out of jail, and people in jail, and
right. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to focus on that too much, just because not our business. But, for anyone that doesn't know, I mean, I think everyone probably knows Greeno got released this morning. So I'm gonna say a prayer for everyone that is affected by that, and I'm gonna say a prayer also for him. that, you know, hopefully his time, you know, changed him. So I don't know the guy.
Yeah, me either. Me either.
I know a lot of really incredible people that have been affected negatively by him, but yeah, you know, I still wish the best for everyone. So I hope that everyone's okay from this. And Mel, I love
absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
So now that you're a superstar, Deb, what are you working on?
I'm way away from that. I've done mostly I would say, on the Idaho case, a lot of research on that. Have done some stuff on Delphi and always will, of course. And then Mel and Kristen behind the crime door and me, we are doing some research to put together something that the three of us are going to present. We haven't decided whose channel we're going to present on. Maybe we'll simulcast. I think Mel has the capability to do that. And I think it'll be really good.
We're doing that now.
We're simulcasting, right? On yours. Oh, I should have made you go earlier and figure out how to do it on mine. Maybe I'll just repost the video on mine, right? I need hours. I need people.
I'll have a copyright strike.
Pow.
Oh, I missed that.
It's been a long time since I've done that.
I mean, you've sent me a lot of text messages with a fist in it, but it's been a while since I've seen in person.
Or the smack.
Yes.
Oh, the other way. It's so weird how it's the opposite of the screen. Yeah. So one of the other things that I've looked into, and I've talked a little briefly back and forth, a couple of little messages back and forth in Sean Kelly Profiler's live, talking to him about, and I hope he will do an in-depth video about Hybristophilia, which is women or men that fall in love with inmates, specifically killers. So
we don't say that word on here.
Unalivers. See everything's changed, right?
Don't get me in trouble.
Yeah, everything's changed. It just went yellow.
I know, right? But I wouldn't be able to know that, but I'm sure I'll get a message if it does.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, no, everyone is not feeling well. So, you know, if you can just say a positive, positive thought or word for Sunny. We're going to be on the Drunk Turkey show tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Oh. So I told her to rest up, make sure she's okay for that.
She will. Even if she's not, she'll be there because she is a trooper. She's a trooper like that. But there are several, most of the high profile serial unalivers have had these women that want to form relationships with them, you know, over video, over the phone. They write letters, etc. And it's just really kind of interesting, and they do it for all different reasons. So I've been kind of looking into that. Are you familiar with any of those?
As of about 20 minutes ago, when you sent me the thing on my messenger. I mean, I am familiar with it. I didn't know the word for it, but I mean, I did know. Yeah. I do know it's not a condition, I guess, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. What? It's what?
It's not really like a condition. I mean, I don't want to like.
It is. Yeah, it is a condition. It is a psychological condition. Of all the philias, it's included. That's Hybristophilia. So it is definitely. It's also called Bonnie and Clyde syndrome.
Okay. And can you define it for me again? Yeah.
It's when someone gets aroused by the act of, by the thought of being in a relationship with someone who's a serial unaliver.
Okay.
And, that bad boy syndrome. It's really rare, but most of the serial unalivers like Ted Bundy, who actually got married, who actually married one of those people.
Right.
And Jeffrey Dahmer.
He fathered
What?
a child. He fathered a child while he was on death row.
Yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer, believe it or not, and Richard Ramirez is one, and Brian Koberger has somebody that's at least one that we know of.
And I'm sure Chris Watts. I know Scott Peterson.
Yes.
Yes, I think at one point Scott Peterson had like hundreds of women, and I'm sure men too, writing to him. Now, just because someone writes to an SK, it doesn't necessarily mean they suffer from this condition, right? They have to have the
Exactly. Yeah, there are people that will write to or communicate with to try to get information. To try to get information, or Never Silent, for example, tries to do a ministry of sorts, I guess you would call it, where he helps these people to, get better, hopefully psychologically. And Ivy Rose says that Hoosier Cold Cases did a video on it, and I was not aware of that.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out.
I know that Never Silent, I think he told me that he recently got offered like $1,200 for his letter from Little. I can't remember his first name. Who was an SK, and he wrote, I think it's Samuel Little. He had written him a letter, and then he replied and then passed away before Never Silent got the letter. And so I found that really interesting. But he, of course, isn't going to sell that.
Yeah.
Samuel, Never Silent. Yeah, no, that's really cool though. And then
Samuel Little, he said. Yeah. So there's a lot of different reasons that people do it. Why they want to have a relationship with an SK, we'll call it, because they believe they can change him. Of course, I think that's very common with getting involved in any kind of relationship with somebody who's in trouble all the time. You think you can change them. Right. There's also the star power or linking, being connected to that person who's, getting attention. They're kind of starstruck. There's also feelings that they would gain immortality through history by being involved with someone like that. They can also have a shared trauma, that they might share a similar trauma that the SK went through. The other thing, and I'm like, I can see this. I feel like it's a safe relationship because in most cases they don't actually ever see that person unless it's just behind a glass or something like that. So it feels like a safe relationship that they can't get hurt in, and that they can have some control over. And a lot of them will also have a relationship with someone like that because they don't have to consummate a relationship. So those are some of the reasons that women or men, and I'm wondering if it's probably more common in females, I would imagine. Are you frozen, Adam? I think Adam is frozen. Oh my gosh. Adam, you are frozen. I don't know if he's going to have to go out and come back in. Oh, look at there. He's two Adams in one.
I know, right? Hey, I apologize. My computer restarted for some reason. No idea why. I just thought I'd try to scare you there, Deb.
I'm like, this was a setup.
100%.
All right.
It's like, okay, you said you wanted to do a live on your own. Here's your chance.
Help. Oh my gosh. Yeah, thank you to the mods for joining us. Alexa's chiming in here. I love this because I'd love to hear her opinions on everything whenever I watch you guys, and even back in the day when I was on the channel with you. I always love to hear what Alexa has to say. She said also a lot of people suffer from Hybristophilia. They also suffer from autoassasinophilia. Autoassassinophilia. I'm going to have to look that one up.
I'm going to have to look that one up, yeah.
Yeah. She always has the information. Lawnmower Man, when you came on the second one, he said, it's Adam from the future.
It was Lisa's worst nightmare, 2 of me. It was Aspen and Adam joining together. And for anyone that is not subscribed to Deb, I do want to say really quickly, please, there's 96 people here, so please jump over to Deb's channel and subscribe. I will drop her link in the chat. Yeah, or if there's Vivian, a mod that can grab that for me.
I just saw Vivian and somebody else say they subscribed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Hey, Outback. Outback. Haven't seen Outback in a while.
Right. Hey, Grizz. Grizz, have you won our $1 million yet?
Is he gambling again?
Right.
I don't know. We may have to do an intervention with him.
Bridgeburner, I would love to have you on sometime, but I don't think tonight's tonight, just because I want to catch up with Deb, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I would love to have you on sometime. I have a ragdoll cat named Aspen. Oh, Lisa Marie Pritchard.
Oh, thank you, Lisa.
Lisa says, Deb has a quality channel, and Aspen also has a channel.
She cracks me up.
No
One
truer
of our
word.
witty people.
Right.
So we've had a couple of people. We've had a couple of people that. Go ahead.
No, you first. You first. No, you first.
No, you. Okay, I'm going to go. We've had a couple of people that we know of that have written to inmates, and one of them we know was doing it in connection with law enforcement because they wanted to try to help with the Delphi case and, more connected with Kagan Klein. And the other one is also connected with Kagan Klein. So right. I don't feel, I'm not sure about the other one. I know that the first one that we know was not romantically interested in any way. Right. And the other one says she's not either, that she's basically just has a plan and is working her plan. So if that's the case, I hope she gets some great information. Hey, Phil.
I've talked to a couple people recently that have been contacted by him, that have talked to him in the past. And for the most part, majority of people I know that have reached out to him and have talked to him throughout from conversations haven't really been maintaining them. But he's still continuing to try to maintain those conversations and those relationships, whether they be through a missed call or, getting a message that, because I guess with the way that system works, you get a message that says, so, Kagan Klein would like to message with you. So, I guess someone's putting money on his books. I don't know.
Well, I think what's happening is he's requesting, but I don't know if anyone's putting money on there. I have heard a rumor. I've heard a rumor that a certain person booked up all of his video visit time, right, and then didn't appear on any of the video visits.
Right. That's I can confirm that it's not just a rumor. I saw the proof of it.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that too. So I don't. Yeah. If that document was real, then it's a thing. Yep. So, I've heard he's, contacted several people, and my guess is that he is pretty much trying to get money.
Right.
Wanting somebody to put something on the books.
It's funny, we haven't talked about Kagan Klein in a while, but it's funny that of course I've read messages that haven't been made public that he's written to people, and the overwhelming thing I keep getting from him, and he doesn't deserve any sympathy, but because of what he's done. And I mean, it's sick. But I always find myself when I read when I read messages that he's written, just an overwhelming sense of like someone that's so lonely and lost that, in a way it makes me sad a little bit, because I think, what, progressed in this guy's life that got him to this point where we no longer can feel bad for him. But, at one point I would think, I'm sure that loneliness and that kind of lost feeling was there already, before he started doing horrible things. And that, is this an example of someone that could have been saved if, someone had cared about him at an earlier age? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that he definitely, the reason that he lies so much and creates these bigger than life facts about himself, is because of deep-seated insecurity. And I think that his, he was getting something. And I will tell you that pornography is more addicting than a lot of drugs, because it stimulates, that part of your brain. And it releases those endorphins. And so I think that he, just got something from it, a good feeling. It was a way to break away from that truth that was his, that, he probably didn't have a lot of friends, not a girl that was interested in him, etc. And it just built from there. And then you couple that with a mom that, really wasn't in his life for the most part, because he was living with his dad. We don't know about his relationship with his mom, but then you couple that with a dad who was really confused about what was right to do in life.
Oh, no, dad of the year. I mean, we would all be so lucky to have a TK
right.
Our dad, right?
Exactly. And, it's sad. It's really sad. And a lot of people were hurt. A lot of young girls were hurt, and maybe young guys too. We don't know. Were hurt by all of this, and including, potentially it could have been the connection. We don't know for sure, but it could potentially have been that connection that ended up getting Libby and Abby unalived. Trying not to say the word.
My goodness, Deb, you're dropping the P word and then the K word.
Sonny's going to pull the plug any minute.
I mean, I really didn't think I had to give you some shit. No, I'm just playing.
I know, right?
Exactly. Diamondize, it does not sound, I think that's sadly an overwhelming theme in a lot of people's lives that we discuss in true crime, that there's not much love in their life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Vivian just said, "Oh, we're not talking about Kohberger. We will talk about Kohberger too."
Yeah,
and about
we
that
will,
case.
Vivian. I apologize, Vivian. If you're newer to the channel, Deb used to be on the channel, and it's a crime and shame, and so we, I've wanted to talk to her for so long. Well, we've talked behind the scenes, but it's good to be able to catch up. So I apologize that we haven't talked about Brian Kohberger yet, but we will.
Yeah, Mel wants to know why unalived. Why we're saying that unalived? Because YouTube doesn't like the alternative words.
Yeah, it's really just to help with the algorithm as far as like what YouTube deems acceptable things to say, and rather than the video going yellow, we're just trying to be conscientious of some of those things.
Right.
Even though we don't like that word, of course, it's silly, but
I know.
It's YouTube's ball game, and we just play on the field.
Right. We try.
Yeah.
Of course, it wasn't like that when I was on with you and Sonny. We just said whatever we felt like saying.
Yeah.
Literally.
They've definitely gotten a little bit stricter with some of their things as far as monetized channels. And and ever since the copyright strike that we got in October, or not copyright strike, when someone claimed that we used the C word, that, you know, the pandemic that everyone's gone through over the last 3 years, that we, you know, remember then Sunny got the channel back up like 4 hours later. You have to have so many videos in a row, like that, like basically are crystal clear, perfect, before they'll, like, you know, not like automatically give you a yellow and like make you go through a review process for each video. And you have to like rate your videos in a way. I don't understand all of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to learn, because I just actually applied for monetization on my channel yesterday.
Yeah. Congratulations.
So, thank you. So that's all kind of new to me as well, but.
Yeah. Well, and once a video turns yellow, from what I understand, it sits there for several days.
It can.
Until it hits green, which means that you can gain monetization from it again.
Right.
And what happens is the first few days are what are crucial to a video as far as making money. So
right, when it's yellow, you can get limited. So I mean, it's basically people that have like YouTube Premium. So it's just limited revenue. But you know, a lot of the stuff that we talk about, with the exception of some videos, you know, with current events, have kind of a shelf life. So you know, a lot of people aren't going to watch a true crime show that's a week old if there have been updates. So, but you know, like Vivian, you know, we haven't even really talked about. So Vivian's like, talk about Brian Koberger.
Oh my gosh!
I'm just playing, Vivian. So you have been following Delphi and Idaho really closely. You've put out some incredible videos.
Thank you. You have too.
You're welcome for all of the help I've given you.
Hold still. Hold still. You know it's coming, smack.
All right. All right, there you go. But so, you know, congratulations on that. You know, I was like, oh, I mean, it still makes me a little sad every time. So I'm like, oh, that's my Deb. But,
well, we cheer each other on. You know that we do.
Of course we do.
I know. I'm like, get in there. Get on YouTube right now.
Absolutely.
And then the little creep goes and gets like a $200,000 view, or 200,000 people viewing of one of his videos.
You're the only reason I went on TikTok.
Yeah.
Hey, you had
TikTok, not YouTube.
Yeah, you had a video, I think, that like was it 25,000, 30,000?
I had one that did really well. I don't know. I'd have to look back at it. Yeah. And then I've had some that haven't.
Oh, same. Well,
TikTok is so weird.
Well, so is YouTube. I mean, I looked back at, you know, because a lot of people are now starting to talk about the visual snow thing with Brian Koberger. This is for you, Vivian. You know, and I looked back to the video I put out on YouTube, and I know you did one as well, I think. Didn't you? About his the whole visual snow thing, or no?
No, I didn't put out anything about the visual snow.
Because I looked back, and it was January 10th, I think, that I put that video out. And so it's funny that people are just now starting to talk about it, and only like on, I think, TikTok 500 people watched it, and like on YouTube I think like 100, 200 people have watched that video. Yeah. But I put like a whole bunch of his posts about the visual snow syndrome, and so I'm like, should I just like take it down and repost it? Because now people are like actually starting to pay attention to it. But it's so far back that I don't think, Well,
I wouldn't even take it down. I would just repost it.
Right.
We need to duet each other's videos.
We should.
Have you done that with anybody yet? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Is that really helps?
No, we should do a Sunny's.
Yeah. She's had some really funny ones.
But no, she meant a criming shame, not at criming shame.
At criming shame.
I'm playing.
Love you, Sonny.
She's gonna take my StreamYard privilege.
Don't cut us off. Back to the visual snow thing. What do you think about that? What have you learned about that?
Well, I mean, for anyone that's not familiar, visual snow is a condition where basically people have like a visual condition where they, basically it's self-explanatory. They kind of, see in their peripheral vision, like almost like static, like you would on a TV that's, not that's not on an actual channel. And it happens even when they close their eyes. So the post that I found on the website Tapatalk, which is a messaging board, kind of like a Reddit, which has different categories, and there was a category for visual snow. And Brian allegedly was a user between the ages of, I think, 14 or 15 and 18. So kind of his like sophomore year of high school to his senior year, which would have coincided with some of the time he was using hard narcotics. But to me, it was the messages were, there were 118 posts that he made over the years on this website. And it was incredibly enlightening to hear or to read his words about what his reality of the world is like, because it fits perfectly with kind of what would lead, I think, someone to go down, like end up going down the road that he did. Not that anything can explain that, but
yeah. When I was talking to my husband about it, and for people know that most people know on here that he's a psychologist, and he said that antisocial personality disorders claim a lot of weird things like that, a lot of weird feelings, a lot of the visual snow thing, and it could be real, but it could also some of be just weird stuff that they say. So you have to kind of weed through it. But I also, when he was talking about his feelings, I thought, well, he was a young person, 14, as young as 14, when he was doing heroin, according to him, right? So there are some drugs, I think black tar heroin is one of them, that once you do it, you can never truly feel happiness, feel a true happiness again. And so that would explain some of the feelings.
Does it rewire your brain?
About. It does, yeah.
It's one of those like LSD that like can actually have a rewiring of your brain.
Yeah. Ivy Rose. It's more of a psychological disorder than an eye disorder. Exactly.
Right. But sadly, because I can go, it's not a well-known condition, and it's not a very well understood condition. Sadly, I think a lot of times they probably treat the physical symptoms rather than like the fact that it is more of a psychological thing.
Right, thinking that it's maybe associated with migraines. There are people that get
they treat the symptoms, being the migraines, which he took. I think was it Topamax?
I think it was Topamax he took.
Yeah, which is a lot of times prescribed for migraines, and I think he had a very negative response to that. He inquired. I remember at one point in those messages about some, I guess, self-research he was doing about whether or not marijuana could help. But I mean, a lot of the earlier messages, especially, really do seem like a 14, 15-year-old kid, crying out for some sort of help and understanding why he felt so disconnected from the world. And that's, those are the messages are really what caused me to change my opinion as far as considering him. And Alexa, forgive me if I'm wrong, but is what really made me change my mind on thinking, because originally I did think he was a sociopath. And after reading those messages, to me, it really pushed me more in the direction of thinking he probably falls more into the psychopath category. But I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
And really and truly, I think I've told you before in the chat that they really don't distinguish between the two anymore. It's just all categorized as antisocial personality disorder is how it's categorized. But it's kind of like ADHD. There are people that have ADD, which means they don't have the hyperactivity. Hello, squirrel.
I'm sorry, what?
There are people, and then there are people that have ADHD. They have hyperactivity too. but it's all like categorized as ADHD now. It's just one category. So I saw something interesting in the chat. Let's see. Alexa says her friend's father says it's more like black spots.
Yes.
However, it doesn't affect their vision. And that's what was interesting to me, because I wondered, could it have affected his peripheral vision that night? And that's why he didn't see Dylan when he left the house. And I know people have asked about that before.
Right.
And he could have just been like focused to get the, out of there.
Right. Or he, I mean, considering all of that took place in essentially 10 minutes, he could have also just been too physically exhausted to do anything.
Right.
I mean, I get winded walking to the refrigerator. I can't imagine doing what he did in 10 minutes with 4 people, and then
exactly.
I'm not trying to make light of that.
Yeah, I know. It's true. It's true. I tend to think that, and I kind of did a little test, like you could open the door and it would be such a thin crack that you could still have a good view, but someone passing by would not necessarily know that door is open. And that's what I think happened. I think that she just had it open. And it's interesting that her dad had been there the weekend before and put a new lock on that door.
I thought that was Anna.
No, that was Dylan.
Wait, I thought
sure it was.
I know early on. I mean, they said early on that Xana's dad had been there the week before and installed a new lock, but they never said whether it was on the outside or whether it was a bedroom door or where it was.
Well, maybe it was Xana. It's been a while ago since I've heard that. I was thinking it was her.
I think it was Xana's, but
okay. The reason I was thinking it was her is because I've also heard that she has some PTSD from trauma in the past. And that could explain why she, freaked out and just went to a corner or whatever she did, and kind of froze up.
Well, it would make sense.
That's the case.
I know I know Steph and I talked about disassociation, and how that can cause people to, a lot of people don't understand it, but how it can cause people to do, what kind of Dylan did, which, I think it's not unfair to, just naturally be like, oh, well, why would someone wait 8 hours? That's just a normal thing to think. But then, when you really think into the fact that she might have gone into a disassociative state, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
But,
and that's highly possible, that's what happened. But there is some more information coming out now. And I know that, I don't know, I can't remember if it was the sister or sister-in-law that came forward from the family. Let me see who it was. Let me see.
Right. While you're doing that, Ivy Rose, I don't think Xana's parents or Xana's dad has ever publicly stated why he went and installed the new lock, other than we just know that, he said early on, this was back in November, that he had been at the house the week before to install it.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's right. Now that I think back that it was Santa, and how sad is that?
Right.
That, it did that. It didn't.
I think to myself too, one of the things with Dylan, if you turn all the lights off in your house, and you turn on your patio light, because they have the string lights outside, that from all accounts I assume were on at that night. And so if you turn all the lights off in your house and you stand in your breakfast nook or your kitchen or whatever, and you look out your patio door, and there's the string lights out there, if someone opens a door to the the left of you as you're walking through the kitchen or thing, I think the only way you're going to notice that door open and the person standing there is if there's any light in that room. Because there's also, it's in kind of that nook where the stairwell was. So there wouldn't have been any natural light in that area of the room. So, if Dylan had opened her bedroom door and was standing there and she had no lights on in her bedroom, he may not have seen it.
Right.
Especially probably, you know, assuming he was probably in a state of, I mean,
I
he
need
just
to get out of here.
And he probably was in a weird, euphoric, whatever, you know, we don't know his motive. So,
Mm-hmm.
but, you know, I would imagine that he was probably riding a high in a way, from what he had just done. The adrenaline, the exhaustion, all of it, I think would probably, you know, play into maybe, you know, missing that.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that it's very possible that he had played out in his mind how much time he was going to be in there. And he didn't maybe expect Xana and Ethan, if the actual people that he was interested in were either Kaylee or Maddie. Maddie. And he didn't expect to run into Xana and Ethan in that situation.
Right.
That in his mind, he might have been panicked, like, this is taking way more time than I had anticipated. I got to get out of here, and just booked it.
Right. And, you know, that's something else that people don't really consider often with Dylan is, if he did see her, you know, he's the only person at that point that knows what's happened in those 2 bedrooms. And he also probably knows the noises that were made. But he doesn't know what she heard, and he doesn't know whether she's called 911.
Right.
And so, you know, he may at that point have been like, she could have called the police, and he needed that opportunity to get out of there.
Exactly.
Again, speculation, but I just try to look at things from like the most logical standpoint.
Yeah.
And
I like what Jeff said here. Let me go back and see if I can find it. Where did it go? Wow, this chat's moving quickly.
Right.
Okay, I can't find it, but he was talking about the neon light that was in
I
Xana's
put it on the
room.
screen.
Oh, you did. You're so good. Yeah. Look at you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeff said there was that neon sign on the wall outside Xana's room, bright light, like that, close down, arises in his eyes. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good point.
Yep. I forgot about, because there was one, and there were, you know, because they had 2 of those. There was one of those good vibes signs upstairs on the 3rd floor in Kaylee's room, and another one on the 2nd floor in the living room.
In the living room.
Between the kitchen and the hallway that went to Xana's bedroom.
Right.
You know, I will say the
one said good vibes or something like that. If I
think they both said good vibes.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, until the News Nation thing came out the other night, which what do you make of that? I know you did a video about it, but the source that told Ashley Banfield about the order of the unalivings, and
well, there's some truth in there.
Yeah.
I mean, none of that, as I stated in my video, that none of it came from law enforcement, and there is some discrepancy with what law enforcement told us and what the coroner had said. But they basically said that Maddie and Kaylee were first, that he came downstairs, and that Ethan was third, and that Ethan was indeed found in the doorway, half in the door and half in the room, and that fourth was Xana, which would kind of make sense. It has bothered me when they said that Ethan was found in the bed, because unless he was sound asleep or passed out, it doesn't seem like something a guy would just lay there and hear all those noises and everything going on. You know, like they would get up to go see, where did Xana go? What's going on? And, you know, he was a very athletic, you know, positive go-getter. Are we spinning? Oh, my laptop is. I'm sorry. You know, he was that go-getter kind of guy. Okay, we're good. Right. He was that go-getter kind of guy. And so, you know, I just don't see him. It bothered me to think, how did he get attacked, and how did he not, how did all that transpire, I guess? So it makes sense that if he was coming out of the room and was attacked quickly, and they were saying that Ethan's throat was slashed, And some of it just, rings true with that Xana put up a really fierce fight. And that she had grabbed a hold of the knife. And it's so hard to talk about. But that, huh?
I said, thank you, Daisy.
That she had grabbed a hold of the knife, and that she had done that so many times that, her fingers were almost severed, according to this person who was, telling Ashley Banfield. So some of it makes sense because we've heard some of that before. Very early on in the investigation, they originally said that Ethan was found in the doorway.
Yes.
Then they changed it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
the coroner changed it, right?
Yeah. Well, no, the coroner came out right away and said they were all found. Basically, they were all in bed.
Ashley Banfield asked her were they found in bed, and she said yes. But then that made me wonder, because I don't know this. There's usually like a coroner that goes to the scene and pronounces people deceased. And then there's a coroner that does the actual, autopsy.
Medical examiner.
And so which one was she?
She's the coroner. That's an elected position, because she's also a defense attorney.
She did the autopsy?
So she did not perform the autopsy herself, because then that was done then by a medical examiner. The same as Libby and Abby.
Was she on the scene the day
Yes.
of it?
Yes.
Okay.
That
was a question in my mind.
The coroner's job, at the crime scene is to they photograph and recover the the bodies. But I mean, as far as actually performing the autopsy, that would be done by a licensed medical examiner. And I don't believe that she is. I believe that was done in what's the name of the town? Just like with Libby and Abby, how it was like the coroner was that young guy, and then they went to a medical examiner for their autopsies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, I found the whole and of course this is just a source. This is someone that told Ashley Banfield this.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's true.
Right. Exactly.
Because to me, I get confused by it, because if you read the affidavit, it talks about how, when the officer arrived at 4:30 that afternoon, he could see Xana as he approached the room. So I'm like, well, if Ethan was in the doorway, there was no, he says, that, Ethan was also found in the room, is what the affidavit says.
Yeah. Well, I in my mind, I'm like playing that out. I'm thinking, as he approached it, was there something in front of him, a sofa blocking his eyesight on the floor, and he just saw through and saw Xana inside? Or could he, what was the actual layout? I need to go back and look at that.
Right. Well, that bedroom essentially would be kind of like if you're walking into a room, you're kind of walking into the far, as you're walking in, you're kind of walking into the far right side of the room, to where the right hand side is the window, and then the bed is in and to the left against that wall. The headboard is against that wall where we saw the substance outside of the house. And so the bed faces perpendicular to where you walk into the room.
Okay.
And so I can't get around the fact that I'm like, how would you say you saw Xana as you approached the room? And then, the wording in the affidavit is that, Ethan was also in the room. I've always just read that. To me, I mean, the logical thing is that he would be then further into the room.
Right.
And, and if it is to be believed that substance outside that's running down the foundation is actually blood, someone had to have been in the bed. And I mean, if you look at the when they took the but when they took the mattress,
bed or on the floor,
or slumped onto the floor against the
right.
When they removed the mattresses from the house, they wrapped them, but if you watch the footage when the way the light is hitting, you can see the dark outline of basically a body in
Absolutely.
the bed.
You can see,
and because of the
big
size
globs
of the bed,
of blood.
And because of the size of the bed, it was bigger than the bed that Maddie and Kaylee were in. That's how it's safe to assume that would have been Xana's bed. I think it was a queen size bed. So I'm like, someone had to have been on that mattress at some point.
Right.
And
that was the larger. I know they brought out several mattresses.
Yes.
That was the larger of the.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's safe to assume that would have been Xana's. Because I think Maddie's was either a twin or a full. And this one was larger than that, so it would have been a queen. I don't think it was a king. It was not a king size bed. It was a full. It was a queen. Yeah.
Unless I don't know. It's just so confusing. That's why I said earlier, there are things about it that kind of ring true that we heard in the beginning, and we know that things you usually hear in the beginning are gone. They go back to right. That's
look at Delphi.
Right. Exactly. So those are things that have bothered me, and I did put a video about that, but I did also say take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
It's not released from law enforcement.
Right. And that's the thing, is I have to reconcile everything with what law enforcement says. And so when I go off the information from the affidavit, that's what makes me, because my assumption has always been that Kaylee and Maddie were first. I assume Maddie probably was first, then Kaylee. And then I always assumed that then he walked downstairs, and for whatever reason, I questioned whether or not, like, maybe Xana was going from the bathroom to the bedroom, or if she I know you've questioned whether she was one of the targets, and you thought maybe she was, where I've always thought her and Ethan were not the targets, but that she might have intercepted him or looked out to see what was going on. And I've always thought that Xana was attacked third, and that then Ethan was asleep in the bed at the time, and that he woke up during the act. But with what this source says, it makes me question that, because they sounded adamant about the fact that Ethan was the third one attacked and that Xana was last. And then I'm like,
if that's true.
If it's true, yeah. And then I'm like, or was Xana attacked but didn't succumb to her injuries, and then Ethan was attacked, and then he said, "I'll help you," because we know that someone heard someone say, "I'll help you," and then by "I'll help you," he meant he was going to put her out of her misery.
Exactly. That's what I've always thought.
So that Xana ended up being the last one, even though she was attacked third. I don't know if that's too convoluted, but to me it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I've always thought that too. And there was a point where I thought that maybe she was by how it was worded, that she was actually in the bathroom.
I thought so as well.
In the doorway of the bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy stuff. I even went into looking at, how he would have prepared for this, because I saw that, they listed things that they were looking for that they found in the warrant. And one of them was a Walmart receipt. And so I started looking on Walmart just to see what you could buy there. And I found that the nitrile gloves were sold there, several brands. And there was one that was, I think the brand was like Spider or something like that.
Yeah, SPY.
Really, really heavy duty. It would be what mechanics would use to work on cars, so that they don't puncture easily. They're very tough. And I thought, what if you doubled up on those? Yeah. Oh yeah.
As a hairstylist, that's what I because I can't wear latex gloves, but I'm and I always wear black ones, so I'm very familiar with black nitrile gloves.
And
I can tell you,
go back.
They cost about $17 a box.
Yeah, I go back to Chris McDonald when he was there, and he found that black glove out in the yard, And, just makes you wonder, was that one of Brian Koberger's, or was it an investigator?
Right. Well, I believe that was more like a weather, like a cold weather glove. Whereas, for anyone that doesn't know, a nitro glove, they look just like, it's like a doctor's glove.
I haven't seen a picture of that. I haven't seen a picture of the glove.
Neither have I. But I assumed just by when I listened to him talk about what he found, that's why I assumed it was like a not like a surgical glove, but because a nitro glove it looks just like a surgical glove.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And you can get them in different colors. Like these were black, but they're an alternative to latex that's just more durable and thicker. I'm sure Mel uses nitro gloves as well.
I know that they do. A lot of physicians, if they have a latex, and dentists, they have a latex allergy, they would use something like that. Then I'm, looking through Walmart, you can get these Dickies brand. I know there was a Dickies tag. Dickies brand, like one piece that you zip up, really thick material. One piece outfit and I was thinking, what all you could get there. And then also the fact that he purchased the waterproof sheets. I can see him covering his car seats with that and covering the floorboard.
For that.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
There were 2 sets. That's in the warrant.
Okay.
Yeah. There were 2 sets of waterproof sheets. They're kind of, I guess, like a plastic type thing. I'm like, that would be perfect to cover your car seats with. And there were 2 pillowcases also that had blood on them. I'm thinking, you want to get in your car, you slip your foot right in those and you sit down on that, waterproof sheet in your car. That's going to really help.
Right. And we know when they removed things from his apartment, we also saw that, they removed the box of the little like slippers that go over your shoes.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, when they were taking stuff out of his apartment during the search, they removed a box that you could clearly see was labeled. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like like little booties that go over your a lot of times construction people or heating and air people will wear them when they come into your house to do work, so they don't track butt in. But that would, other than the fact that we know there was a footprint outside of Dylan's bedroom window, could explain why we don't see visible traces of biological matter leaving the house.
Yeah, exactly. Ivy Rose says tattoo artists use those same type of gloves as well. That makes sense. They're the real thick. They wouldn't be want to stick themselves.
Right. But you can
use them for barbecuing.
You still have the mobility. That's one thing that's nice about them is they are a little thicker and more durable, but you do have the mobility just like you would with a surgical glove.
Right. Now, Vivian says he was so smart but so dumb at the same time. Seriously. And I think Alexa was the one that said it, and I agree with her. He had book smarts, but he didn't have street smarts. And I thought when she said that, I'm like, that's so true. And I think to go along with that, he was probably, impulsive. And he just made he thought of so many things, but didn't think it to the next level.
I mean, sounds like a narcissist to me. I want to say quickly, Lisa Marie, thank you very much.
Yes,
Lisa Marie,
thank you.
Really enjoying your channel, sending love from Australia. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Trust me, Sunny won't be as mad if I mess up at anything. If people show some love. Wink, wink. Kidding.
Yeah. See-through says he spent all that money buying all the stuff, and then leaves a knife sheath.
Right. Women don't make mistakes like that.
Yeah. And then I thought, well, maybe if his print on it, the DNA that was left on it, was in a place he didn't remember touching, and he cleaned the outside, like maybe the underneath of the snap. maybe he purposefully left it there, because it didn't say have like the U.S. Marines on it or something.
The insignia.
And, maybe he was trying to make it look like he's staging the scene, make it look like it was somebody who was an ex-Marine. It's hard to say whether it was an absolute just stupid accident, right, or if he was trying to do something there and totally messed it up.
Don't you agree that the biggest mistake that most people, when someone thinks they're the smartest person in every room they're in, which I think by all accounts it sounds like Brian was that kind of guy, just judging from what his students had said about him previously, and the fact that we've heard multiple people talk about how much he liked to be in control of everything he did. Look at his lifestyle. The guy was so regimented in the fact that I think if he didn't have absolute control, he felt out of control. And I think the biggest mistake and easiest mistake anyone that's like that makes is that because they think they're the smartest person in the room, they don't think they can make a mistake. And that's why they end up making such silly mistakes that you're like, huh? They end up like a head scratcher. And I can only imagine if he played out this fantasy in his mind for whatever his motive was over and over and over again, just like anything that you fantasize about in your mind, when the reality of it comes, of course it's going to be different. And I can only imagine that, something that's like that minute is easily overlooked. Because imagine, can you imagine the anticipation and like the fear and all of the emotions that I don't like to put myself in, on a liver's mindset, but imagine everything that was probably going through his head as he took that knife out of that sheath. If this was his first offense and that was what he was about to do and what he did do, can you imagine how easy it would be to like forget something like that? Mm-hmm. Or you think, I'll think it after.
Right. Or he didn't realize he did it at all until afterwards, and then that's why he was driving back by to see if he dropped it in the yard or something.
Right.
As he came back by.
Yes,
he could have also been coming back to relive it, see what was going on. But
I think he was coming to see the glory of what he had done, because I think he expected to pull up, and I think he expected to see a sea of police cars and ambulances. And I think he probably was in for quite a shock when he saw nothing.
Yeah. And maybe that's why he came back again. He was like, what? But I also think that was taking a huge risk to go back there, Right. But again, he probably thought he had covered everything and wouldn't be caught.
Well,
so it's probably
look at the guy in Oregon that just, Benjamin Foster last week, that I don't know if you followed that case at all, about, he was using dating apps and had beat that woman within an inch of her life, basically. Mm-hmm. And then a week later, he returned to her house and was hiding under the floorboards. Mm-hmm. Clearly these guys are not smart.
Well, I have some experience with that. They always return to the scene. I think I've talked about in past months on here that in the neighborhood I used to live in, that someone followed my neighbor who was single home, had been stalking her. She had no idea. And he had just seen her in a mall. And he stalked her. And when she was away, he had been going into her house late at night, and she didn't know it. And so he did break in and SA her. It was really a really tough situation. And the police at that time told her so she wouldn't be afraid, which I think was a mistake. Oh, he'll never come back here. But the truth of the matter is they always return to the scene because they want to relive what happened. And so about a year after that, I woke up in the middle of the night. It was a God thing. Sat straight up in the bed, could not sleep, went downstairs, almost went outside because my child had left a toy on the patio and it was starting to rain. And I looked at it and I thought, no, this will be a good lesson for her. So I'm just going to leave it there. And I'm glad I did, because he was outside of her house, right behind. We had a row of evergreens. He was right behind the evergreens there, and would have, I mean, if I'd have come out, who knows? But I did. It scared him when I turned the lights on in my house and he took off and I saw him. And so I ran upstairs and said to my husband, there's somebody at so-and-so's house. Give me the phone.
You may have saved more than yourself.
Yeah. we did find out that's true. He grabbed the phone, dead asleep, grabbed the phone, handed it to me. I called, and I was looking from the upstairs so I could see where he went. And again, another thing where I believe it was totally a God thing. One of the police was driving past the entrance of our neighborhood at the exact time I made the call. He turned his lights off and came in and caught the guy. And he had garbage bags, a huge knife, a baseball bat, and duct tape. So he totally.
He had a kit.
Yeah. He came back to get her. Mm-hmm. So they always do return to look around and relive that experience.
I guess when you hyper focus on something like that, I guess it makes sense in some twisted way, but I think the logical part of our brains tell us, why would someone do that? But I think that's because we're using the logical part of our brains, which I don't think someone's using when they are, in that state of mind. But
exactly.
I hope that that woman never go off her Christmas card list, because you deserve to stay on it after that.
Yeah, it's an OCD thing. They're obsessed. They have to do it, Yeah, a true story. And I had to go to court and testify against that guy. And he went to prison for 45 years. And
it's like Garth.
Yeah. The first $20,000 of any money that was sent in to him for the cantina or anything would immediately go out of his account to pay his court costs back. So he had nothing to negotiate with in prison, and he's still there today.
Right. So do you regret doing that to Michael? Sorry, I had to throw that in.
Not named Michael.
To be a little shady.
His name was Hector.
Hector. Good name.
Hector Reyes. Look it up.
Good name.
Yeah.
So we had, you mentioned a little bit ago about Ethan's family member.
Oh yeah.
But we never really went into that. Did you figure out which relation it actually was?
Yeah. It was a sister-in-law, I think, to his mother. And she has come out and said, sister-in-law to his mother. Is that right?
Okay. So his aunt.
Yeah. And she just has some questions about Dylan. She says that Dylan called friends before, or that she tried to call the girls in the house.
That makes sense.
And no one answered, but she still did not call law enforcement.
Right.
Which, again, it's hard to explain that looking back, because we weren't there. We don't know what was transpiring in her mind, but she has a lot of questions. And Ethan's. Did I say Dylan?
You did, but I meant
Ethan.
So you're talking about Ethan's aunt.
I was looking at Dylan's picture. It was Ethan's aunt.
Right.
By marriage. Yeah. She has a lot of questions, and she just doesn't understand that. But Ethan's mother has come out and said, let's not look back. Let's look forward to getting the case solved and tried, and let's push forward as opposed to looking back, which I thought that was really, she has been amazing to me.
Ethan's mom?
Watching. Yeah.
Yeah. Ethan's family, all of them to me have been just incredibly poised and And I mean, all the families have been incredible, I think, throughout all this. I mean, in their own way, they've all been so. I can't imagine the strength that it would take to get up and go on every day after that happened. So
I know that Steve Gonsalves has been at the beginning. He was impatient and wanting everything, but that's like a dad.
Honest. But he's honest.
That's a protective thing. He wants to take care and do what he can concerning his daughter, and he hired a private investigating team, etc. But then once they did arrest Brian Koberger, he calmed down, and he has been a great spokesperson as well. And I think that in the future, their family will do a lot to help other families that are in the same situation.
I agree. He's been maligned quite a bit, I feel like, definitely more than I think anyone, maybe other than maybe Kara's mother, or maybe Kara, Xana's mom, has been maligned quite a bit as well. But Steve, I think, has gotten a lot of criticism, which when you put yourself that outwardly forward in front of something like this, I think, he probably had to understand that could happen. But I feel like is because I've had a lot of people tell me they think he's damaged. He's caused damage to the investigation. To me, I think, he had to he's just the personality type that he had to exhibit some sort of action or control over the situation in order to cope. And that's how he has been grieving. But I feel like he at the same time has been honest about the fact that, and self-aware enough to be like, if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. In which I think he's actually done that several times. I mean, he's turned around, especially after Brian was arrested, and said, I didn't think these guys knew what they were doing, and I was wrong. Yeah. He's like, I didn't trust them, and he's like, and they, and they were doing exactly what they told me they were, even though I hadn't seen the proof at that time. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, that, he's just grieving in a very, what's the word? Sorry, not, when you're outward, not inward.
Yeah. External way.
Yes, an external way, as far as, as opposed to, privately.
Right. Well, and that's his personality. He's a leader. He's a take charge guy. And, I can imagine, like, you would want to do something.
Right. And he's one of only two guys in a family of like 8. So he's probably used to women just, he's probably just used to women telling him to sit down and shut up.
Right. You're kind of used to that, are you?
As any man should be gladly willing to do.
Your sisters taught you well. Yeah, definitely. But I have a lot of respect for all the families. I've wondered, as far as Ethan's sister or
the brother,
Kaylee's
Hunter.
Or Kaylee's sister, if at some point I've wondered if Kelsey will reach out to them, having gone through something similar, that she could be of a benefit to them emotionally.
Yeah, that's something that's interesting, because I'm sure that she could be, and she may, because, she's part of that group with Sarah, the name,
I know who you're talking about.
Yes, I feel so horrible now that I don't think it's Sarah Turney, who's had a sibling also that was unalived, and I know that Kelsey has reached out to other victims' siblings that have survived, and helped with that. And I think they have an organization that they work with. When they did that panel at CrimeCon last year, that was the siblings of unalived victims, that Sarah was in, that Kelsey was in. can't remember who else was there, but but then I wonder with, her being pregnant and going through like, the fact that, she might be in a whole different part of her life now. So I don't know. But,
right.
Right. I do know that
Speaking
I've
of,
heard Olivia say that, I've heard Olivia say they have had people reach out to them that have been from high profile, cases.
Yeah. And maybe she
talk
did
to parents even that, and Olivia's pregnant. Olivia's about to have a baby. Kaylee's sister.
I did not know that. Oh. Well, and maybe Kelsey has reached out, we just don't know about it. But she could also be a benefit to the surviving girls because in a way she's, she was there that day. She dropped the girls off. And I know that she probably for a time had remorse and thinking,
right.
She could have done something. Hey, Seashore girl.
Oh, and Kaylee also had 2 younger siblings, and Libby has younger siblings, and I mean, they could even. I mean, I know they were young at the time that Libby was unalive, but they could, I'm sure, even be of assistance or help to the siblings of Kaylee's, right? Because I imagine being at the age now where Kelsey was basically when when that happened to Libby, everyone can play a different role. I thought about that one time, but a long time ago. I was after I got to know Jerry McClurkin. I thought about trying to connect her and Becky together, but I never did. Only because I felt like that is a step too far. That's not my place. Yeah. I'm like, right. So, but I just felt like there's so many similarities in those 2 women and the strength they have and the love they had for their family and everything. But, the fact that, I was like, that's not my place to interfere. So. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Alexa, who we were just talking about, it's Ethan's aunt was wanting to know why Dylan did not call the police immediately. And but Ethan's mother, has just said that she doesn't want to look back. She wants to look forward to, solving the case, etc.
Right. And, I think it's important, even though it's not logical or doesn't make sense, just because Dylan, you have to remember, she's a 21-year-old girl. I think she's a 20-year-old girl. If she called friends before she called 911, it might not make sense to us, but that doesn't mean that it's criminal, or it doesn't mean that it's nefarious or suspicious. Right. I mean, people do all sorts of things in a trauma situation that you wouldn't expect. But I mean, right. 20-year-olds also do a lot of things that you would never think is logical or make sense.
Tell me about it.
You've had a few?
I've raised 2 past that, and I've been that age before.
One of them's a boy, so he I'm sure goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Mature?
Yeah.
He's a 20-year-old mature person or not?
Yeah. He's 23 now, so hopefully we're past that stage. He's doing pretty well right now.
He'll have a few occasions when he's like 28, 29 where he'll go back to those decisions that a 19-year-old makes.
No.
And then again when he's like 40.
No.
And then he'll be like 40 and he'll just make permanent 12-year-old decisions like I do.
You're welcome, Alexa. Alexa's, one of those people that as I said earlier, I hang on her every word. Yeah. And I remember, we just mentioned this earlier and it just popped back in my head. Early on in the case, before they ever arrested Brian Koberger, Alexa said, they will be able to arrest this person because he will have done something stupid that will allow them to know who he was. And that's exactly what happened. He Absolutely. Left the knife sheath behind.
Alexa is rarely wrong.
I know. She's amazing. Right. I'm a big Alexa fan, and I can't wait till she has her own channel. I'm pushing for that.
let me
So I can watch her.
Let me make sure I read that correctly. Alexa is rarely wrong. In fact, she's typically the smartest person in the room. And she's gorgeous and I love her.
She is. Oh my God.
Okay, I think I read that just perfectly. Okay.
She is gorgeous. I love her. I could watch her talk all day long. Absolutely.
When she's not about to have a coronary.
Lisa Marie says, it doesn't make sense to me, but I'm much older. Contamination of crime scene could be an issue, though. Yes. Right. That's a thing that I worry about. If indeed it's true that they called people over, or friends, and they were, and I mean, that's in the warrant, right? That there were people that, at least two people that went in, then yeah, you've got a problem with contamination of the crime scene.
I mean, I think there were as many as a dozen people there when the I don't know that they all went in, but I think there was up to as many as a dozen people there when paramedics arrived.
Yeah. Austin says you forgot to read the part about him being the second smartest.
No, Austin, all it says here is that Austin's the best looking guy in the chat. But,
oh my word.
And then it was like, remind Celine Dion, that's his cat, to super chat $20 for saying
meow.
Dogs, right?
Oh my gosh. So what do you think about Meow Zedong and Randy doing the collab on the video?
With Indie Archive?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
should be interesting.
I mean, I like Randy. I'm super impressed with Indie Archive's technical work. Yeah. I mean, all of the footage that they've done as far as, I don't know, like with drones and things like that. Excellent work. And then Meow Dogs has put out some very good content. So I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
of course,
anything that's like, like Delphi, the movie, is, can be taken as a little cheesy.
Right.
But I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So, and I'd much rather some people like them be doing it than, I can think about a lot of other people that would.
Randy's been around since the beginning. I remember, day one. I mean, I've been around since day one, but he was one of the people that started talking about it on YouTube.
Right. Well, if you think of it, I think of someone like Randy that has the backstory and the knowledge of the case. Not that the other two don't, but then you've got Meow Dogs, who's got very good skills as well, as far as I think fleshing out content and fleshing out like the important aspects of stuff and bringing to the forefront like what resonates. And then you've got the technical aspect from Indie Archive. And I'm not saying that they're not good at those other things. That's just what I recognize from those three people. So they each bring something different to the equation that hopefully then working together will put together a really well packaged, intelligent thing.
Right.
So,
right. I think
and it'll probably be good to look at. So.
Yeah, Daisy, I agree. I like the things I've seen Meow Zedong do. Yeah. I just saw Ivy Rose says, I guess that it wouldn't be much different than going outside and yelling for help from neighbors instead of immediately calling police.
Oh,
well, that's true because
Ivy.
Ivy
joined us last night. Thank you, Ivy, again.
Yeah, Ivy has been around this case for a long, long time too. I remember seeing her back in the beginning. She's very knowledgeable.
She might be in a certain private Facebook group now, right? Or messenger chat.
She might be. Yep. Run, Ivy, run. I tried to run, but it's like the Hotel California. Once you check in that chat, you never check out again.
Not unless you're shown the door.
Right. That did
like some have been.
Yeah. But that's true. I mean, we can all say what our first instinct would be. Having gone through nothing that horrific, but, my neighbor's situation, I know that my first instinct was to run and call the police. So I kind of think I know what, there's a fight or flight, and I'm one of those people that will fight you. I will fight. So, but, Dylan was obviously the flight person. She ran and hid. And, we don't know.
I've always thought freeze should be in there as well. Like fight or flight. I've always think freeze should be included in that, because I feel like she kind of took more the like freeze. Like, some people, they just, they close in. And I feel like that's more what it seemed like she did.
Right.
Where they just
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I know even sometimes when I'm overwhelmed by things, rather than, like, if I have too many options, sometimes I almost feel paralyzed by it. And it creates I won't take any action, rather than like either flight or flight.
I've seen you do that. I've seen you do that. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
No, it's true. No, I do. I mean, I'm being honest. I do. I mean, sometimes when I'm overwhelmed, I just get paralyzed with options, and I'm like, nope, can't do anything.
Right. Stand perfectly still. Don't make any noise. It's true. Ivy says it is included. I believe it is too. And that. Alexa says, no, by no means. Oh, am I the smartest person in the room? Although I appreciate the trust.
Alexa, I knew you were going to say that, and I'm here to say you're wrong. You are the smartest person in every room, and also the hottest. Is that what you told me to read?
And when you are on live with Adam and Sunny, you are absolutely the smartest person in the room.
I don't see that part.
You don't see that? It's right here.
Oh, she wrote that in Latin.
Oh my goodness. We love you, Alexa. Love you, Alexa. Jeff says, totally relate to getting overwhelmed and taking no action. Be still and the T-Rex won't see you. Good analogy. Absolutely. Really good analogy.
Right.
Jeff is pretty witty. I like him.
Yeah.
I like Jeff.
Yeah. We have incredibly witty people now, Deb, that you're gone.
Oh, it figures.
I mean, the chat IQ has gone up considerably.
Oh, okay.
We've really elevated our status.
The chat has, but the panel's gone down.
So, and for anyone that's not subscribed to Deb, please, if one of the moderators would drop Deb's channel, I would really appreciate it in the chat. I don't have it pulled up right now, but
thank you, Adam. I appreciate that.
What are you? So, what are you close to? Are you? Are you at 440?
Let me look here and see. I am at 460.
You're going to pass Sunny. Woo-hoo! 460. Wow. You're going to pass Sunny and myself any day, and then you're just going to be like, I'm too busy. I can't do anything. You'll be like,
not true.
Can't you all see it?
I'm a very loyal person. I never forget
John
my roots.
Kelly and I are too busy.
Well, in that case, yes. John Kelly and Perry from Copbacks would definitely do it.
Two of your followers, right?
I know. They do follow me. I follow them. They're both like two of my heroes.
Neither of them follow me.
Oh, you don't know that.
I haven't seen it. I looked.
You're going to have to show me. I don't know how to see who's following.
I don't know how to see that. I actually don't know that. But I, so I think we know now who John Kelly was talking about when he said, forensically smart.
Forensically rich.
Right.
I love him. He's so smart.
Wasn't me.
Copbacks too.
Yeah.
They're two of my heroes. LM says, did the person who made the 911 call report anything about the victims or just a person who passed out?
We don't know any details.
The story that we heard was that the two girls ran out of the house screaming, and that Dylan passed out, and that Bethany was so scared and screaming and talking that she was making no sense. So a passerby, someone else, grabbed the phone and called 911 because Dylan had passed out, and that's what brought law enforcement there. That's the first story that came out. Has anything else been talked about?
No, and of course that's as you know, it's still hearsay or speculation, but I mean it makes the most sense, and I've heard it from a couple different places now.
Yeah.
But nothing of the all law enforcement has said is that the content of the 911 tape is been crucial to the investigation, which has led to a lot of speculation as far as what in it is so crucial to it. Other than that it was made from one of the surviving roommates' phones, but not by the actual surviving roommates.
Right.
And like I've heard it even I've heard it even told that like Dylan started to call 911, or that that her or Bethany passed out, and the other one was overcome with emotion so much that they couldn't speak, and that's why one of the friends talked to 911. But I mean, I think it was said that multiple people are heard on the 911 call talking to the 911 responder.
What if, for whatever reason, Dylan didn't call till the next morning. She tried to call all of the other girls in the house. They didn't answer. Maybe she did get a hold of Bethany, and then they were afraid to come out of their rooms, and they called somebody from a fraternity or sorority across the street.
Absolutely.
Can you come over? We're scared. We don't know what's going on.
Well, if you look at the affidavit, I mean, it talks about the fact that, because of the digital forensics it says, I think at one point in the affidavit, digital forensics of the surviving roommates' phones, which to me tells me they were messaging each other after so I mean, if they, they've taken all of the information off of the girls' phones, Bethany's and Dylan's phones. So, they have all of the information that, was shared then after, so I'm sure that Dylan and Bethany did message, I would assume I would assume all the roommates had a group chat, most roommates I think would probably have that. So I would assume they probably messaged their group chat, didn't get a response from Xana, Kaylee, or Maddie. And I'll even say, as far as it doesn't sound logical to a lot of people, but I was in a fraternity in college, and to me it does not sound odd. Actually, it was common, and it was actually, it 100% was told to us that before you contact police in a situation, that you let your fraternity or sorority know. And it was really more of a liability thing, and kind of like, save face for like a fraternity, because your mind never goes to a quadruple homicide. So, I mean, even if you walk upstairs and there's a considerable amount of blood and you see someone, whatever, if they have we did, like in my fraternity, we had policies in place that you were supposed to do this or this if any emergency happened. And typically it was like, if someone drank too much and passed out, those are the things you're thinking. You're not thinking like, stabbed to death. You're thinking like, oh, someone's got alcohol poisoning and passed out, or someone like, got pulled over, got into an accident drinking and driving or something. It was always, you call the fraternity, and you call the fraternity first before anyone else, because they'll guide you through how to like get out of the situation. Right. Sadly. I mean, whether it be right or wrong. So to me, it would not be odd that Dylan called people in the fraternity or sororities first.
Right. And
it might not have been right.
Thinking, if they hadn't come out of their rooms and seen anything yet, they would be afraid to, but they would think, well, I'm going to call some of my friends across the street for them to come over and help, be there for when I come out of in case somebody's here, you know? And then as they came out, they saw that and ran out of the house.
Right. And imagine the stories you would tell yourself in that situation to make it normal in your head. Because what really happened is never going to be the first thing that someone's going to think of. So, I mean, like, sure, Dylan probably tried to rationalize the situation a million ways before actually thinking, oh, I bet 4 of my roommates were, 4 people were just unalived in this house.
Yeah. Right. You wouldn't think that at all.
You'd be like, oh, is this a prank? Is someone, even seeing someone in a ski mask or something walk, or whatever he had on, walk by you at 4 a.m. like that, she would probably try to rationalize it. Right. Like, was this a fraternity prank? Was this something,
And again, I go back to, I read a story that I think I said earlier. She had PTSD from a prior experience of some sort, and that she had what are those called when they're actually it's like a dream, but it's during daytime. I can't think of the name for it.
It's not disassociation.
We'll call it that. That's not what I'm thinking of, but that she would see things that weren't actually happening because of that PTSD.
Hallucination.
I'm sorry, say that again.
A hallucination?
Like a hallucination. That's not what I'm thinking of, but yeah, like it would be like a hallucination.
Okay.
So if that happened, she might not have been sure of what she saw. I don't know. I just feel bad for the survivors. I feel bad for the families. And every time I look at those, all 4 of them were just beautiful people, beautiful young people with, so much to look forward to. And they were so full of life. And it gets me every time I see their pictures.
Right. Extraordinary and incredibly ordinary all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because, they were at a point in their life that we've all been, that most of us have been at. And the whole world was ahead of them. But then at the same time, they were so just typical and normal that, I mean, you watch that Grub Truck video, and there's nothing more ordinary than than what you see in that video from, like a college experience, at least in my case. I mean, I had countless nights like that in college.
Yeah, and they were having fun. They were pretending to grab everybody's macaroni when it came
out. And I never
would
have shared carbonara. I would have eaten the whole order myself. I would like get your own.
Maddie and Kaylee were definitely like sisters, weren't they?
Well, I mean, look at that pictures when they were in 5th grade. I mean, they were, they were basically like Libby and Abby in a lot of ways. Even though Libby and Abby weren't nearly friends that long. But, yeah, horrible. And, I mean, no one deserves to be unalived, but...
Yeah.
It's especially sad
I have to do this. I have to do this.
Okay. I'm sure Sunny is laying in bed somewhere doing that too.
Yep. Mostly because my lips are chapped.
That's for you, Sunny.
Yeah, Sunny. Big lost for you.
Right. Michelle O said fugue state, lucid dreams.
Yeah. Lucid dreams. That's what I'm trying to think of. Thank you. Is that Michelle O?
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle O.
That'd be a good name. That would be a good name for a channel, Lucid Dreams.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Absolutely.
So
are there any other questions that people have? Put them in the chat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope that we've talked about Brian Kohberger enough so far now that Vivian can. Yeah. And you've done incredible. Like I said, you've done incredible work with Idaho and with Delphi. I mean, all your content's good. Is there anything as far as Delphi
I need to get back to doing more Delphi, kind of straight away from it, because everything that was pressing was Idaho, but I'm really digging back into the Delphi now. Right. The group that I'm in with Mel and Kristen behind the crime door, we're looking at cases that are similar, that have had something similar with ballistics.
Am I in that group?
No, it's a girl.
Mel, am I in that group?
No.
Everyone say goodnight to Deb.
It's we're looking at, cases that have where the evidence was a ballistic type of situation, the ballistic death penalties. And interesting, the list that we found DPs. Sorry, Sonny. Edit that out. The list that we found so far, those two attorneys, the public defenders, are not on the DP list.
You mean Richard Allen's?
Mm-hmm. Although both of them, from what I've looked up, have current DP cases. One of them, I think, has a DP case, but they were not on the list that we found. Now, maybe there's another list, but it's getting kind of interesting.
Do you have to be DP certified in Indiana to handle a DP? Because I know different states have different regulations and different standards for that, where sometimes it's like an accreditation or like a recommendation that they be, but it's not a requirement.
There is, and I even found in doing some research that there's like classes on it.
You're right, Drunk Turkey Show. You're right. DP does have another meeting. I should be careful with that.
So yeah, we're looking at that. It should be really interesting, and it will be great with two people like Mel and Kristen behind the crime door, because both of them can give an unbelievable amount of information. I mean, I will sit and listen to them and just be totally enthralled. Well,
I think the only thing would be missing would be like I think the only thing it would be missing would be like a really interesting, charismatic, like maybe someone like a guy maybe like that's really just very in touch with his masculine and inside, and can really bring it home. Do you know anyone
like that? Do you know anyone like that?
Yes, and he just got out of jail today.
Oh no.
I'm just playing. Oh, I mean, if you're asking if I'm available, I might be able to help you.
But anyway, I'll be the color commentary in that group, I'm sure, because both of them are just fabulous. So I'm excited about it, and look for that. Just don't
give Kristen any cocktails.
Oh my gosh, they're both such smart and sweet ladies.
And
there's a lot of
Mel only likes people. Cocktails with banana in them, fresh.
I've heard that.
Mushy bananas.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Speaking of, okay, let me go in another direction. Our bubblies that we love. Have you tried the blueberry pomegranate one yet?
I have not. Is that one of the caffeinated ones?
It is. It doesn't have caffeine in it.
Okay.
No. The caffeinated ones are the Ice brand. But yeah, and there's also a pineapple coconut one.
You told me about that one. I'll try that one. I'll go to the grocery store. Well, I'll have to go to the grocery store tomorrow and get some beer to be on the Drunk Turkey Show tomorrow night with Sunny and Alexa. Yeah. So I'll pick up some bubbly as well.
I'm looking forward to that. Everybody needs to tune into that as well.
Right. For anyone that doesn't know, Sunny, Alexa, and myself are going to be on, and there's Drunk Turkey Show now, on the Drunk Turkey Show tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I will drop the link to their channel in the chat. And we're super excited. Sunny, apparently, I think, is so excited she's had to take today off.
Well, I had not watched
honestly, I think that she wasn't used to last night and the night before. So Sunny's not feeling well today.
Yeah, that's probably more like it. I had not watched Drunk Turkey Show before until they came on, and then now I'm like totally a fan. I've subscribed and I'm on board big time with that.
Yeah, You know, I think Daniel's probably the one that's here in chat. So hey, Daniel. And there's Big Blue, or is it Little Blue? It's Little Blue, and
it's Big Blue, isn't
is
it?
it Big Blue? Yes. Sunny got that into my head. She like gave me a Freudian slip though, and then Jaime or Jaime.
I was thinking. He says hi. She says what? Hi, ma.
Right. I'm butchering I'm butchering the whole thing, so they're going to disinvite me now, I'm sure. But
yeah, I was thinking, you know, the blue thing, the Big Blue, Little Blue, that stuck in my head because when my son was a baby, a little toddler, he had a blanket that he called Big Blue. It was a big blue blanket. It was Big Blue.
I bet Greeno had his own little Big Blue there in jail, didn't he?
Oh my, no comment.
Just playing.
I don't do the drama.
Big Blue's my boy. Yeah, that's actually one of the favorite things that I like got is that, you know, like those guys have all known each other since like middle school or elementary school, and so I love and think that's so incredible, you know, because I mean I know like when I make a friend, like when I keep my friends forever, so like, you know, I have friends from elementary school.
Yeah.
I'm right to die. And I think you're that way too, Deb. So
yeah,
when other people are that way, I appreciate it, and it just makes me love them even more. And those three guys, like, I mean, they seem thick as thieves, and they have been that way since kids, I guess. So I think it's awesome.
And when you've known someone for that long, you can have some amazing chemistry on a show, and they do. They
Right.
have great chemistry.
And you know, like I tell my friends, you get to a certain point, and where are you going to go? Because you know all the stuff, you know all the good and bad, so they can't really leave you. Because
I know too much.
That's why Deb's still here, because she knows that I'm like, you know, I'll call out all of her secrets.
Yeah, it's like I told you, it's like Hotel California.
Right.
You can check out anytime you want, but you can never totally leave.
Well, you know, I mean that goes with my theory of you know, if you love something, you put it in a small cage. And if it survives and keeps and lives, then it'll love you back eventually. And if not, then it wasn't meant to be.
It puts the lotion on the skin. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Adam and I talk about every day.
Right. I mean, usually it's
even if it's
extra messages, but yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's just a little hey, how you doing, or something rude that we send to each other. Oh, and actually, Sunny, I mean, we're in that group, so we talk every day pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Or else it gets the hose again. Yeah, exactly, Bridge.
Oh my goodness.
So is there anything specific with Delphi? I mean, we're almost at the 2-hour mark, so I think we'll go for another like 5 or 10 minutes. If anyone has a question, please put it in the chat now, and especially if you have anything for Deb. She's a little rusty now, so we have to loosen her back up before she does her own live and surpasses us all.
Right. Exactly. You do kind of get out of practice talking off the top of your head.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, tonight's the first night I've run a live by myself in a while, and I'm like, I kind of forgot how to do this.
When I worked in radio and I was a DJ, we all DJs have a reoccurring dream that your sound went off air, and no matter what you do, you cannot get back on air, and you're like running in the studio, pushing buttons, trying to start. Back then it was records back up, and nothing works. It's like a frustrating dream that everyone I've ever known that worked in radio has had that. Right. So it's kind of like that.
Have you had the YouTube video yet, or the YouTube dream yet, where you spend your entire dream editing a video?
No.
I have. It's like, there's nothing less fulfilling than, like, you know, waking up and being like feeling the anxiety of like having like edited an entire video and getting nothing to show for it.
I would imagine that's coming because I just started working with like Canva and some of those other programs and trying to figure all that out. I've had some nightmares about you and Sonny, but we're not going to talk about
it. No, she's never had a nightmare about us, just sex dreams. Just kidding. Drunk Turkey Show says, I came in late, may have answered, does Deb think there was only one perp in the Delphi case? Does she think the 5-0 got it right?
I think that there is a connection between, I'm trying to think of words I can say in here and now and can't, between KK and his Dropbox.
Right.
Possibly
well, we use SA for,
Yeah. Possibly a connection with the phone and Richard Allen. And I think that he was the only one there committing the act that day. But I think that that KK is connected somehow. And I've always wondered if he sold him a phone, which, if he was talking with if he was talking with Libby and she thought that was her boyfriend, then he might have said, well, I want to be able to keep track of you and find you when we go to, the park or wherever. And maybe they downloaded some kind of a tracking situation. Maybe he was carrying that phone that day, not looking at stocks, but tracking the girls to see where they were. And I've always wondered about that. And was that the phone that was thrown into the Wabash?
Right. Well, I think a lot of
and was one more. And is that why Kagan Klein was worried about DNA and how long it can last on a surface? Because his DNA was on that phone.
Absolutely.
So that's a theory that I've had for a while.
Right. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So I know that you and I both think that Richard Allen is BG. Mm-hmm. And that BG is the one that committed the crime of unaliving the girl. I don't think they would have put the families through that and put saying and going out there publicly and saying that they got the guy if it weren't the guy that unalived the girls. Right. I think though, like to me, I'm like, it always is the most logical thing that and I'm like, we know that Keegan Klein was talking to Libby. We know that he was using a fake profile of Anthony Schatz. We know that he was catfishing. We also know that he messaged her that morning. But then we know that Richard Allen encountered them on the bridge and unalived them, allegedly. But then we also know a phone was found in the Wabash River. But it wasn't Keegan Klein's phone, because Keegan Klein's phones were, mostly taken on the 25th of February, and then the 27th is the iPhone 4 was taken. And so that flip phone that was found in the Wabash River was not Keegan Klein's. So whose was it?
Right.
It wasn't Keegan Klein's, but it was found in the Wabash River near Keegan Klein's house. Keegan Klein Googled the Marathon gas station in Delphi the day of the crime. So to me, yes, it's all circumstantial, but A and B, there's too much circumstantial evidence to not have a connection somewhere.
Absolutely. I mean, it's too coincidental.
If you ask my personal opinion, I don't like to speculate on my personal opinion too much, but I think it would be really, really, really reasonable. And I mean, Keegan Klein was he was catfishing girls between a certain age in a certain geographical area. I mean, it wasn't like he was meeting girls in a geographical area that were between certain ages. And, to me, it would be the most logical explanation if Keegan Klein and Richard Allen accidentally catfished each other, pretending to be young women.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's how they could have gotten connected, right?
And somehow realized it throughout, because, a hustler knows a hustler. So,
yeah. And I believe that happens all the time. I watch the PCI group
look at
here in
Dropbox.
Indiana. Yeah.
It led to the
PCI
largest
group. Go ahead.
It led to the largest CP ring in Indian history.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then I watch a group called the PCI, and they're on Facebook and YouTube, and they basically do a sting operation where they pretend to be a young girl or young boy, and they go into these chats and they trick people, and they get people that are talking to each other. They have had that before, where they've had perpetrators who were talking to each other, thinking that they were, a young girl or whatever, posing as. And so I know that does happen.
Right. It happened.
That's
even
a great channel to.
Yeah.
That's a great channel
it's kind of like to catch a predator, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. And it's a great channel to watch. I support them 100%. And I laugh so hysterically because the police almost always show up there, and the perpetrator doesn't know that the police are going to show up, and it's just it's great to see him being hauled off. But yeah, to check that out.
Right. I mean, we even know that as far as the interrogation of Keegan Klein, or they talk about Emily Ann, and they talk about this this conversation was with this person on Kick that we believe was another adult male.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that was happening in Keegan Klein's world. So it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility at all that Richard Allen allegedly ends up, entering that orbit somehow.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's just the easiest and the most logical explanation as to how they would know each other. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's like this deep-seated, Illuminati type ring of pedos in that area that because I don't think they're that organized. I think it's easiest just to connect the dots. But Michelle O says, sorry,
I think just a bunch of pedos sharing pictures that they all wanted to look at and sharing videos.
Right. Which in that world, that's currency, right?
Right. What were you saying about Michelle?
Michelle O says, Deb and Adam, what can we expect from the next court appearance of RA?
I think that it's about bail, right? And so I think that what we're going to probably see is maybe a little bit more information put out there as to why he should not have bail. And I think it's going to be really interesting on the public defender's part too, of why he should have bail, and that's going to be telling. Mm-hmm. Because if you pay attention to what they're saying, this didn't happen or that didn't happen, then we know a little bit more. So I think that in some way we're going to get a little bit more information.
Right. Well, I mean, you read the document last night, right? That came out.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh no, it was a couple days ago. The state's response to the bail. You've seen it.
Oh yeah, I think I did a video on it. Or you put it in my community.
Yes. So I mean, they talk a little bit about. I mean, they give a few details in there, which if you really read between the lines, you can kind of tell where their heads are at. But I mean, it's no shock to anyone that they don't want the prosecution doesn't want him to get bail, and shocker, he's not going to get bail.
Right.
I mean,
he won't get bail.
I'd pretty much bet anything in the world that he's not getting bail. But
and if they did set a bail, it'll be so incredibly high that he wouldn't be able to pay it anyway.
Right.
And he's probably safer for himself where he is.
Right.
I can't imagine what will happen to him if he was out.
I mean, JLR would get him. Richard Allen. Why? Sorry. I think Michelle, I think the other thing that's going to happen at the hearing on the 17th is that they're going to discuss possible dates they can reschedule the trial from, because I think all parties agree that no one's going to be ready by March for this trial.
No.
Which we all knew immediately back in the end of October that was going to be that no one was going to be ready for this in March. So that is not surprising at all. So I would assume probably will.
People need to be prepared. People need to be prepared that this is not going to go. Let me just say, it would be shocking if it goes to trial before 2 years.
Right.
Because there's so much material to cover. And these are not the only cases that the prosecutor or public defenders have. And so, in order to be prepared, it's going to take a long time. Look at Kagan Klein's case.
Right, which is now in May, right?
Yeah, supposedly. May 5th, is that what it was? May 2nd, May 5th? So. Yeah.
And he's been incarcerated for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Now, they're entitled, and it won't be the prosecutor who draws it out for more than 2 years, because I don't believe they can legally. Yeah, it'll be his side. It'll be Richard Allen's side.
There's a law on the books in Indiana, right? That a prosecutor does there have to be a hearing where they waive their right to a speedy trial, or is that just a blanket state law that the prosecutor can't delay things?
He can't. It's a law that he can't delay it past 2 years, but the defense side can. They can continue until they are ready.
Okay.
And it'll be telling if the defense all of a sudden says, "We're ready, let's do it," then we need to be concerned, because that means that they feel they can get him off just like that.
Yeah. Whereas, look, Keegan Klein he's been incarcerated, like I said, almost for 2 years, and and they just recently dropped 5 of the charges, which why they did that, people can speculate for days. But had he had his trial 6 months later after he got incarcerated, those 5 charges would have still been there.
Exactly.
So in some ways, it can be beneficial to them
most likely
delay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I finished. Most
likely, their charges that were either really lesser charges or hard to prove. The ones that were dropped, but didn't they amend 18 of them?
Right.
Am I right?
Well, yeah, because it can be incredibly difficult to prove the age of someone in a video when you don't know the source of the video.
Right.
Sadly, I think we all know what the content of those videos was. So,
very sad.
Yeah. But as far as I would say I think the most likely scenario we're going to see with Richard Allen is that on the 17th, I believe Judge Gall, I think, is going to deny bail. I believe, I don't remember if there's anything else discovery-wise that they're going to address at the hearing, but then I think that it's going to be a quick hearing, and I think the majority of it's probably going to be administrative as far as scheduling for trial dates, and it's probably just going to be the defense, the prosecution, and the judge just coordinating their calendars as far as when because it's going to be a long trial.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember now how. I think originally they only had 5 or 6 days scheduled for the trial, which I would assume is going to be a lot longer than that. But I would think that the majority of the hearing is going to be taken up by them probably just scheduling. And I don't think it'll happen in September or October, but I think that's the most likely case as far as when they're going to reschedule it for as of now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think if they put like a date on the calendar of 2 years from now, I think that's gonna infuriate people. So I think they'll probably schedule it for September or October, and then when it comes to that, they'll probably push it out even further.
Most likely. Most likely they will. I'm so glad for the families that it's not in Evansville, because that is a long. I used to have to make that drive several times a year for soccer. It is a long, boring drive, and I can't imagine the families having to do that. So I'm glad that it's staying in Delphi, and they're bringing
Is
the jury
Evansville
out of Fort Wayne, Allen County.
right?
Evansville is really far south.
It's southwest, right? Close to Illinois.
Evansville would be. Oh, I'm not good with, but
My
it's
mother,
like
I know
3
my mother
hours
used to,
drive.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know my mother for a while worked 1 day a month in Evansville, Indiana, and so it was like 2.5 hours from where we lived in Illinois at the time, or 2.5 to 3 hours.
It's about 3 hour drive from here, but it's the longest 3 hours you've ever been, because it's so boring.
It's boring.
It's really, really tedious drive. So
absolutely. So I'm not sure if I've missed any other questions in the chat, but hopefully we answered those 2 questions adequately.
Yeah. I'm just looking in your chat now.
Where is Gary? Gary, Indiana? Gary, Indiana is basically north west Indiana, essentially
close to Chicago.
Yeah. So it's closer to the other county that was an option for the jury pool was going to be in St. Joseph's County, which that would be closer to Gary. I mean, it's not Gary, but it's closer than Allen County is.
Yeah. Looks like Digital was asking about the Muddy and Bloody witness that said they saw Richard Allen or someone muddy and bloody. And we know that Murder Sheets just came out with a podcast. I don't know if they've moved it over to YouTube or not yet, but it's on podcast. So I do believe that there was a witness that saw someone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I'm assuming Digital's talking about I'm not gonna say the woman's name because she's a private citizen.
About the name.
I'm not gonna blast this woman out there. I mean, I assume you as well, Deb, have seen like the woman's name and all of the information that's come out about her today and yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not
with people
not gonna
saying they found for anyone that doesn't know, that people are basically claiming they found the identity of the woman that's the witness to the muddy and bloody comment about Richard Allen or allegedly Richard Allen. But then people have put her record out there. They put all sorts of things out there, and she very well may be the witness. She probably is, but I mean, it's not my personal business, so I'm not gonna put her name out there.
Right.
Anyone that wants to know that information can find it within 2 seconds on Reddit. Right. And Lisa, I'm sure, like I said, I don't discount the information. I'm sure it's probably true, but I don't know why it matters. Like I don't know why we need to know or care about the identity or name of that witness.
Well, and why do we need to drag them through the mud, so to speak? No pun intended.
Right. And so, like, why? And what does it benefit anything?
Yeah. Right.
So, Daisy, it's all over Reddit, and I got sent it probably 5 times today. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. I'm not saying that anyone's done anything wrong. I don't see the benefit to any of it.
Right.
Personally. Because I don't see what it changes or help in this case.
No.
It's kind of one of those things where I was like, oh, I literally, after the first person sent it to me, I thought to myself, oh, probably could be. Like, mental check, now I know that person's name. And then it's like, okay, move on.
Yeah.
And then I started getting sent her, like, my case or like information. I'm like, But, and actually, for everyone that doesn't know, it's Lisa. It's Lisa. Everyone, Lisa is the witness.
Lisa.
She's got a very long rap sheet.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Right. And, you know, and just the stuff that, you know, even the stuff that's on her record. I mean, they're not like, you know, they're not robbery. It's not like, you know, things like that. It's, you know, it's stuff. It's like domestic stuff that I'm like, that's, you know,
it doesn't
not
mean
necessarily.
she
I don't
didn't
feel like
see what. Doesn't
exactly.
mean she didn't see what she saw.
Right. I just don't feel like her record's really an indicator of her character, because, you know, like, it's more of something that's, I think, private. But
right.
but
If that
I
is
don't
in
know the
fact
woman.
the witness.
Exactly. And I don't know the
Right.
woman. You know, Lisa's always seemed nice to me. I would definitely not expect her to be quite as unpredictable as her record shows. Right, Lisa? So,
Oh,
no,
Lisa.
but literally anyone that wants to see, I mean, you can literally go to Reddit, and I mean, I'm sure it's all over Reddit today.
Yeah. More than likely.
Yeah.
I think we've covered it.
Is that your way of saying you wanna like ditch me and go to bed? You know, I'm at this point, I'm literally just like trying to hang out with you longer.
I just don't want to overstay my welcome, you know.
No, I think that's what
I'll hang out and chat with you for however long.
Aw. Lisa says you don't stop chirping me. Lisa, I'll put money in your books tomorrow.
Oh my goodness. That woman. She's a funny one.
Lisa should be chirping me at this point. Give me some money on my books, Lisa.
Right.
All this entertainment I provide you for free.
Daisy says, I'll romance you and bring a cake with a file while you're in the joint, Lisa.
See, I was going to say, I knew I could count on Daisy, but she was talking to Lisa. And if Daisy knew what Lisa was capable of, she would not be bringing her a file. That's how she got in trouble half the time in the first place.
Oh my word!
I shouldn't talk about being incarcerated, because remember last time I did that, it ended up becoming like a viral thing about like how I would run the joint.
I remember. And then of course Sunny had to make a video out of it.
Multiple times.
All right.
Aw.
Sunny fell asleep and we're still on.
Sunny's always there. Sunny's always there with that compliment that, like, you did great.
Yeah.
She's like, you made me fall asleep.
I watched you for here's Sunny. Yeah, I watched you for like 15 minutes and then I got bored.
And she's like, hey, it's 10 minutes longer than I make it normally.
Oh, God love her.
Okay. Sunny, I hope you're feeling a little better.
I hope so too.
Right. You missed the $1 million we got in the chat, Sunny.
Silence says it's okay, Adam. I'll send chaotic nails to get you out.
I just need one hand. So.
Let's see. Miracle Heart says, Austin, I agree. I could see KK having guilty or indirect knowledge of certain information. I definitely think he provided Miracle Hearts. I definitely think he provided some sort of info that was helpful to law enforcement. Well, it sure seems like it because, you know, every time that they talk to him, something weird happens. I mean, look at the Wabash right after they took him out. Who are you blowing kisses to?
Michelle said, thank you both so much for answering my questions. I appreciate you both.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Yeah. And I agree with you, Deb. You know, like I said, I mean, you've got to put, when you're looking at the Keegan Kline Richard Allen connection, I mean, we know that, you know, like law enforcement has has the information from Keegan Klein's phone that they were able to retrieve from, even though he tried to delete things. So we know that that flip phone wasn't the phone that Keegan Klein was messaging Libby on. So what relevance does that flip phone have that they found in the Wabash River? I mean, it's not a stretch then to think that that would be the thing, that the device that connects Keegan Klein and Richard Allen together. Because if Keegan Klein's not using that phone, who was?
Right.
So, and then how did it end up in the Wabash River near Keegan Klein's house?
I know, that's the thing. So. And we still don't know where was he dropping it off to him at the Marathon station? Was Richard Allen dropping the phone back off to him to dispose of?
Right. Was Richard Allen handing Keegan Klein the phone to go get rid of on his way home? Was Keegan Klein really in the red Jeep? But it wasn't his dad that he was waiting on? You know? Because you have to think there's always, yes, he's a pathological liar, but a lie.
There's always a little truth in a lie.
There's always a little bit of. There's always a grain of truth in in everything.
Right.
So it's something to think about. Hopefully we will find out. Hopefully Libby and Abby will get the justice they deserve, and that retribution will come to the people that deserve it as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully Lisa will have learned her lesson.
That will never happen.
Right. Lisa said I get out in a few years. Well, Lisa, I hear if you have really good behavior, that you'll get out early.
I've heard that too. Miracle Heart says, go ahead. You also what?
Nothing. I'm glad you stopped me from saying what
I cut you off. Miracle Heart says, Austin, but I also find it telling that there have been no more arrests or information released or acted upon. Dealing with the other half might be necessary right now, dead, unalived, or in jail.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you're in jail, you're not going anywhere. If you're not here on Earth, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
But there's no sense of urgency.
Right. Ivy Rose says, did I just see that? Ivy Rose says, did I just see that MS say the bloody and muddy witness contributes to the old guy sketch? I mean, you might have. I've not listened to the Murder Sheet episode yet. Like I said, I've been getting a message about the guy or the woman for 2 days now that but I've not listened to Murder Sheet, so that wouldn't surprise me, but to me that sketch to me is always just the one they went with because it's the one that looks the most like Ron Logan at the time. But
could be.
Lala says, I wonder whatever became of McCain having seen BG on the trail. Yeah, there's no mention of Dan McCain in the Richard Allen search warrant. And I mean, I can say he's not one of the witnesses that they mention that are unnamed. So there's just no mention of either of the McCains at all being there that day, unless they're included in the other witnesses saw them after 2/13. No one saw him after 2/13.
But I believe Becky has verified that Dan McCain was there, or Dave McCain. I'm sorry, the shorter one.
Yeah. I mean, there's kind of a blanket statement at one point in the Richard Allen search warrant that says that other witnesses were there, but that no one saw him after 2:13 p.m. Right? Is that what it says?
Yeah, and I think that's really telling. No one saw him, even though it's impossible if he was where he said he was, that someone wouldn't have seen him.
Right, until 3:47 or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah, because he was in the woods. Daisy, but that's true. That came from him, I believe, originally, but Becky has confirmed that. that he spoke to Derek. Something else. Oh, Paul Holes. So Paul Holes was there in Delphi 7 or 10 days before, and he put out a picture. What? Kristen was talking about this. We don't know. Before they arrested him, they put out a picture. He put out a picture of someone in the orange jail suit, and said something like, Kristen said he said something like, someone's about to go to jail or something. And I also remember he made some statement about, there's one thing that I'm really good at. And then he had that picture there. So there's a lot of speculation that he came into town and went through, and that he could possibly be the person that located that information.
Well, he did go to town. I mean, we know that because we saw a picture of him on the bridge.
Right. And I know he was originally there because he was, promoting a new show that he was going to be doing.
Right.
But what else
did that ever
he do
air?
while he was there? Huh?
And has that ever aired?
I do not know.
It was an HLN show, and I know the name of it even. I can't think of it now though. But
yeah,
he went to Delphi, took a picture on the bridge. So, did an episode about Delphi ever air on that show? Just something to think about.
I don't know if it did or not.
Right.
But at any rate, there's also a lady on the stage of the presser, and people are like, "Oh, I bet she's the one that found it." But I want to clarify that is a child and family advocate person who was brought in to help with the underage witnesses and with the family. So my husband knows her, and she has been brought out of her job. She was brought out of her regular job to do that. So that's why she was there and on the stage.
Right. Ivy Rose. Yep, I believe that a YouTube creator made that person up, if I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong, Deb?
The dog walking lady? That's the story, that it was made up.
Maybe there's a little bit of truth in it, but I've been told that was something that, a YouTube creator made up. But,
right. Yeah. Yep.
Austin, you're not missing anything, Austin. Don't worry. Lisa said something earlier about, can someone put in something about for her to get street cred?
For her what?
Lisa needs some street cred because she cries. Because she cries so much.
Oh Lord.
Right. Don't worry, Lisa. Tax evasion is not embarrassing to go to jail for. I mean, even though it wasn't your taxes.
Yeah.
Oh, and Austin just said the smartest thing anyone said tonight.
What? What did he say?
Can you read it for me?
Adam is so wise. Austin, what did that say? Seriously, Deb? Austin, I thought Austin was smarter than that. Now I'm worried. I'm wondering, and I'm worried about.
No, we already established that the IQ of the chat has gone up considerably since you've left the channel, Deb. We're like in a whole different league of like I've watched smart.
Your shows. I've watched your shows.
Sunny and I really make people who are like, she's even married to a Brit.
Yeah, well, there you go. That'll do it.
Austin, stop lying. Look, hands free. I'm not typing.
I'm Adam's burner account.
Just call me AFP.
Surprise me. That would not surprise me.
Absolutely.
All right.
And again, Diamond Eyes, that's another rabbit hole. Sorry. Austin, you're missing out. So yeah, does anyone have any last questions for Deb before we get off here? I haven't opened Messenger, but I bet Sunny's like messaged me and she's like, "Okay, you've gone on too long."
She said, abort mission.
Right. She's like, "Why is it red?" I don't even know what red would mean.
They're gonna blow up the channel.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
goodness.
if anyone has any last questions for Deb. So Deb, you said you are working on a little collab with Kristen and Mel. Any idea when we should look for that? And,
no.
And potentially myself.
Weasel. No, we just started. We had our first little meeting on that, and
you need someone to take the reins.
Soon. Huh?
You need someone to take the reins and really move forward.
You're so funny. You're so funny. It was a good meeting. They're really smart ladies. Ellen says, do
absolutely.
either of you believe there were large stuffed animals left at the crime scene? I don't see, when I look at it, I don't see all of that. But I mean, who knows? This case has been so bizarre and weird that
right.
There's something there. I mean, obviously, Robert Ives said it was a peculiar, weird scene.
Yes.
And they're taking pictures like crazy. We see the flashes going off. There's something there. I just don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't believe that, there's large stuffed animals. I'm not saying, I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility at all that there are multiple items at the crime scene. I feel like we've said earlier, there's always a grain of truth in a lot of things. And I feel like we've just been, we've shown too many examples of, Robert Ives talking about the crime scene. I mean, the photos that Sonny has shown, I mean, some of the comments about things, it was something you'd want to photograph. I just feel like, there absolutely could be things that were left at the scene, and I don't think it would be unheard of at all to think that there were. But now, as far as a life-size bunny or something, I don't think that there are large items like that.
Yeah, that would be hard to get there.
I think you would have had to set it up beforehand.
I think about the graveyard that's close by, and that people bring all kinds of little dolls and trinkets and things. And, it's possible that Richard Allen had some kind of remorse and went there and gathered some things and brought them back.
Right. And it's the day before Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
A day that people, there's certain times of year, when people make a point to go, freshen up or change out the things that are on their loved ones' tombstones. And, Valentine's Day is one of those. People, it's not at all unheard of to think that people would go leave a small stuffed animal or change the flowers out at a tombstone, put a new cross in the ground. Anything.
Exactly.
I mean, I know for my grandparents on my dad's side, my dad has 2 sisters that are still alive, and they kind of have a schedule that, because none of them live in the town that my grandparents are buried in, but they alternate who's going to pay to have the flowers switched out, and facilitate having it done 4 times a year. So yeah, absolutely. And smaller towns, people still go on Memorial Day and holidays and put things on their loved ones' graves. Yeah, so that's a possibility that could have happened. Absolutely. There also is so many rumors that there was etched in something, a tree, a body, or something. Some people said a rune. Some people said the letter F. The letter K has been brought up, which I thought was interesting since Richard Allen's wife's first name begins with K. Right.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that could have happened and could be at that crime scene that we don't know. We're just going to have to wait and find out.
Right. But yeah, as far as things being stuffed animals being left there, I don't think that's unheard of or outside of the realm of possibility at all. I'm not saying that they are there. I'm just saying I don't think it's. I just feel like we've seen too many examples of the fact that they could be. So, but we'll find out. Unless Richard Allen takes a plea deal, and then we might not. But I don't think he will.
Right. So, I don't think he will either. Right, Ivy Rose. There is a rune that looks like an F.
Yes, there is, and it stands for.
Blaine taught us about that when he was on.
And I went down that rabbit hole so deep as far as like that specific rune and like the meaning it has, because one of the meanings is livestock, one of the meanings is money, one of the meanings is wealth, and I was like, I could find meaning behind all of those things.
Yeah.
So, because it's basically kind of like a power line, almost like two lines and then a hook at the bottom. So it kind of looks like a T or an F with like two lines through the top and then like a little hook at the bottom.
Daisy said, with all the fish references in this case, I'm guessing F for fish.
Right.
Daisy,
no one's done a fish video like Daisy did. Daisy sent me a video one day where she goes, something's kind of fishy about this. She kept doing all these little like jokes about fish. So
yeah.
Well, I think we are about to head off, everyone.
I think so.
Deb, if you want to drop your channel link before we go.
All right, let me.
Again, I know a couple people have done it. I know Sloopy did it and Never Silence done it.
I'm not sure I can from my laptop.
Oh, here. Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like an exclamation mark and something I can press that'll do it, but I don't.
Yeah. And thank you guys. I've seen a few new subscribers hop on to my channel tonight, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you've got 467.
467. Thank you guys. And
so I'm gonna drop that in the chat again right here.
Yeah. Don't forget Aspen's channel as well. And Sunny and Lewis, gosh, why am I can't think of Lewis?
Okay.
Sunny and Lewis have a channel called Just Ask Us, and you can ask all kinds of questions, not crime related, but anything else in the world you want to know. And then her sister,
food.
yeah, it's always ends up with food, so it's a great channel.
Her sister's going to be on this week.
Her sister what?
Her sister's going to be on their show this week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that. And she has a great little channel, House and Home Decor.
Yes.
It's called, with Tanya. And, she's doing such a great job. I love her videos. Right. She is so pretty. Yeah,
someone said in the thing the other night, it's true. Someone said it looks like a real cooking show. And it absolutely does. I mean, it's legit 100% just like a good cooking show. And so
Sunny
please subscribe to that. And and I know Never Silent is Never Silent, you got to 406, good. But yeah, anyone that's not subscribed to Never Silent, please subscribe to Never Silent.
Right.
Before you do any of that, subscribe to my channel. And subscribe to my channel, then Debs, then Never Silence, then Sunny, then Sunny's sister. And just message me if you need that order.
In that order. Yeah.
Right. If you do it out of order, you'll have to unsubscribe to one of them, then do it and go back. Right. And here's a list of channels you should unsubscribe to immediately. Okay. Dev's like, gotta go.
You're so crazy.
Deb, I really do appreciate. I do appreciate you coming on.
It's been so fun.
It was good to catch up. Yeah. I know that Sunny wishes she'd been here. So we're gonna have to do this again when it's the three of us. So it's really like old times.
And when I finally get everything all together and figure out how to do the live and run the equipment, I'll have you guys on my channel.
We're busy. We're busy that night. I mean, I shouldn't speak for Sunny. She's free a lot of times. I'm very busy, but
yeah, I know that's not true. At 2:00 in the morning, I get a text. Hi. What are you doing?
And 2 seconds later, you're like, nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
But no, I do appreciate you coming on. It made me feel really happy to see you and talk to you.
Same here.
And to hear your insight, because I mean, you're so smart about, and I respect and appreciate everything you, all the work you've done and do.
Back at you.
That's not what I wrote.
Yes, Adam, I've enjoyed my time on here, and you are so brilliant.
Right.
Next to Alexa.
Next to Alexa. I was just going to say, and next to Alexa, I think you're the most valuable thing that I've.
Oh my. We love Sunny too.
Yes. No, like I said, next time the three of us will have to be on because that's how it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right.
So Daisy, thank you. And everyone, make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you haven't. I know it really helps the algorithm. And thank you to I don't have it pulled up right now, but thank you to the two people that donated tonight.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate it, and I know Sunny will too. So thank you so much. And Lisa, I really hope you get your head on straight and get out of the clinker soon. And in honor of Sunny, we should leave now because there's 69 people in It's a Crime and Shame chat. So we'll say good night now.
Yeah, perfect. Good night.
So, thank you, Deb.
Love you guys.